Welcome to We Do the Betting podcast, where it's picks and analysis from guys like you. Super Bowl 55 recap, our reactions, what we got right, what we got wrong. Where does each team go in the offseason? The legacies of the quarterbacks, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback carousel that we're seeing this offseason in the NFL. In a new segment this week, Be a GM. We are going to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right next to me, I got Zach Reichard, Benny Cakes Mostoller, and Ryan Stanko. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
So Super Bowl 55. Hey, I'm the host this week, Stank. Speak when spoken to.
I gotta say hi. I'm just trying to be courteous.
Yeah, you just paused too long, so you missed your turn. But Zach, we're coming to you first. Super Bowl 55. You had the under. You had Bucks in it too, right? Yeah, you had Bucks in it too. What did you think about the game?
Yeah, I had Chiefs. I just was riding the Chiefs all year. Rode with the Chiefs. It was unbelievable. I mean, I just finally learned my lesson. Do not bet against Brady. I think part of me, because I was betting against the Bucks ever since, even wild card versus the Redskins, had Redskins with the points. Obviously, I think they were going to win that, and I picked the Saints, and then I picked the Packers, and then I picked the Chiefs. So I learned my lesson the hard way with do not bet against Brady. As for the over/under, the under, that was just a crazy game. You would, if you would have told me the Bucs were going to score 31, I would have said, all right, well, it looks like it went over then. Who would have ever thought that the Chiefs would have been held under 24, 25 point range? So that was a crazy under. It's just, I don't know, something about Super Bowls that's 3 straight now unders for the Super Bowl. And that was one of the higher ones we had there with 55.5. So the under, I'll take that pick on that one. Way off with the Chiefs here, but main recap for me overall before I pass it over to you guys is don't bet against Brady. I learned the hard way there. So that's my big recap from the Super Bowl.
So yeah, definitely the Super Bowl I wasn't expecting. I thought that it'd be a little bit more competitive of a game, but I did have Tampa Bay to cover, and I did have the under, which hit. No Super Bowl has gone 56 points or above. There's only been 3 in the last 15 Super Bowls. So that's why I played the under. I told you guys to do that. A lot of us listened. But, my reaction to it is, and a key to the game that I called out was who can get the run game going, and can the Buccaneers get it going? Because they didn't the last time out, and they really did. They rode Leonard Fournette, who had a huge playoff run and a big Super Bowl with 89 yards and a touchdown. He even caught 4 passes for 46 yards. So they were able to get the run game going, even with Ronald Jones, 61 yards on the ground, which opened up the passing game. 3 touchdowns for Brady, 21 of 29. Tom Brady's just phenomenal. He's definitely the GOAT, and arguably the GOAT in any sport ever. So that was a big key. The Chiefs were just really out coached on both sides of the ball, and they were able to get to Patrick Mahomes. I know Zach said about the poor offensive line with the injuries wasn't going to help, and it sure didn't. I read a stat about Mahomes that was interesting to me, that he ran for a total of 497 yards before his passes and sacks. That was the most pre-throw, pre-sacks yards run by any quarterback in any game in the season. So as we saw, they were just getting after him. And I mean, just to be honest with you, they were out coached, and the Buccaneers just looked great on both sides of the ball. And, they didn't have any turnovers. The one interception thrown by Brady got called back from a hold. So they just played a great game on both sides of the ball, and the Chiefs couldn't do anything about it.
Benny, you said most people took your advice on the Buccaneers and the under. One guy who didn't was this guy. I like the Chiefs, and I paid for it. I also like the over, and I paid for it. So my Super Bowl Sunday was a bummer because I'm not exactly Buccaneers guy, not exactly a Brady guy, but I do respect the GOAT. Number one takeaway from this game, how important the offensive line is in the National Football League. You saw it on the grandest stage there is. 10 quarterback hits for the Tampa Bay Bucks defense and 3 sacks. Ben, you had the stat right there with Mahomes running before passes and sacks. He was running for his life. But I will say this, on 2 of the plays that Mahomes was hit, he somehow defied gravity and got the ball to his receiver, and neither of the passes were complete. I remember Tyreek Hill dropping one. I think Darrell Williams took one off the face mask. So not exactly a great night for the Kansas City Chiefs, but they will be back. So I will take the L. I'm not the best assessor of spreads and the over-unders, but I'm going to toot my own horn because I did get a few props right. Travis Kelce, count it. Tyreek Hill, lock of the week. Over receptions, count it. Patrick Mahomes, rushing yards, count it. Tom Brady, under rushing yards, count it. Those were some good props, some good homework. And when you do your homework, things play out the way they do. You get to sit back and enjoy it. That was about the only thing that I enjoyed from Super Bowl Sunday. The Chiefs offensive line said, Toto, run right in, knock our quarterback down. So hopefully the Chiefs will be back. But man, oh man, the greatness of Tom Brady. If it wasn't apparent before in 1, 2, 3, Zach LeBron, not 5, not 6, now 7. 7 is the one that stands out to me the most. And Tom Brady's greatness, MVP. What more can you say? I hate it, but I respect it.
Yeah, I had this one spot on Bucks straight and under. Like I said, Jason, like the GM for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, before the season had a perfectly constructed team. I mean, they only did so bad last year because of Jameis Winston being a quarterback. So it was enticing to Brady to go down to Tampa to become the quarterback. And then look what he brings in with just his presence. They get guys like Leonard Fournette. They get guys like Antonio Brown. That team was absolutely stacked, and they went up against a Chiefs team that had injuries in the offensive line, and Tampa Bay's defense was clicking on all cylinders. What do you guys think is going through the head of that Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, the tackle that opted out to just go stand at hospitals? What do you guys think he's thinking right now?
Not good thoughts.
You think the blame's on him at all?
Somewhat.
So where do you guys think each team goes in the offseason? Do you think Tampa Bay can bring back most of these guys? What do you think the Chiefs do? Do they have to work on the defense? Ben, we're going to start off with you. What do you think these teams got to do to get back to where they were?
Well, I mean, Tampa Bay doesn't have to do much. They made it to the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl the first year with Brady. I feel like they're going to keep most of that main core. I could see maybe a wide receiver or so leave, but they should just keep everybody. They got a good line. They should just keep maybe building around the line to protect Brady. Defensively, they just look phenomenal in the Super Bowl, only giving up those 9 points. So I think that if they can keep who they have right now, they'll make another big run. As far as the Chiefs, I know they had a lot of injuries at the offensive line, but I think that's a key here in the draft and moving forward is trying to build that offensive line around Mahomes. That way they can protect him better. And I know that he was kind of banged up there throughout the playoffs with a few injuries. He had the concussion. So just protecting him, getting more help there, maybe even getting another key wide receiver in Kansas City would be pretty big. They just go now to Hill, pretty much the wide receiver spot. I mean, Kelce takes up all of those numbers that a number 2 would get, but maybe getting a splash there to help out Mahomes wouldn't be so bad. And of course, the defense in Kansas City could always use a little help. So, Kansas City will be looking to make some moves here this offseason and definitely in the draft to help them try to get back to 3 straight Super Bowls. As far as Tampa Bay goes, I don't feel like they need to do too much. Just, patch a few spots here, try to keep their main key guys, and they'll be right back to it next year.
Ben, I couldn't agree more with you. If you're Tampa Bay, run it back. I mean, look at what they added in the offseason. Brady and Gronk to go with those receivers of Evans and Godwin. They drafted Tristan Wirfs, who gave up like 1 sack all year long on pass rushes. I mean, that's just insane. They made their team better. If you're the Bucs, you're running it back. The Chiefs, this was your run it back. Now, here's what you're looking at in terms of unrestricted free agents. Sammy Watkins, unrestricted free agent, $9 million. See ya. Daniel Sorensen on the defensive side of the ball is a linebacker I really think they need to bring back. He plays some safety too. Talented guy there. Brashad Breeland is another guy, unrestricted free agent. Got to look at him. Hopefully they can bring him back. Demarcus Robinson, see ya. Le'Veon Bell, see ya. I mean, look at this list. Stefan Wisniewski, left guard. They signed him. Maybe they bring him back. Their line needs to get healthy, and they're going to have some serious cap issues. Mahomes' contract is obviously kicking in. The unrestricted free agent list in Kansas City is unbelievable. They're going to have to get rid of some dead weight, like Sammy Watkins, like Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, I'm just going to put you on blast right now. Get ready. Get your stuff ready. You're not going to be in Kansas City next year. So if you're the Chiefs, you got to revamp things. Defensively, you have your mainstays there. Okay, you have Chris Jones, you have Frank Clark, you got the Honey Badger locked up, but they're going to really need to look at what they want to do. I think they got to bring Sorensen back. Rashad Breeland was great for them. They got to think about bringing him back. Maybe you let a few other guys walk and try to go after maybe one free agent to help your defense. But Kansas City, this could be a huge, huge turnover year. When you have Patrick Mahomes, you're a Super Bowl contender every year. But the organization is going to have to really carefully plan out how they want to handle free agency and what they want to look like next year. I thoroughly believe, like Ben, you said, they got to bring in another wideout option. Maybe Nicole Hardman makes that jump up with Byron Pringle maybe out the door and Demarcus Robinson out the door. So we'll have to see. But if you're Kansas City, you need first and foremost to shore up the offensive line, to get another pass catching option, and then you got to hope you can keep your defense together. Otherwise, this might be a 10-6 team next year. Unbelievable to say, but it's going to be interesting to see the offseason turnover that Andy Reid and company has to deal with.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I won't take too much time because I'm just not going to repeat everything. It will be interesting to see what happens with receivers like Godwin and Antonio Brown on the Buccaneers, if they could bring both back or who they prioritize in that, divvying out the money. Also, I think Ndamukong Suh is due to get paid, and Shaq Barrett, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on the defensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're being joined by a special guest, Enzo, too. So Enzo wanted to just say hi. He poked his head in here. But for the Kansas City, the dog.
Good boy.
Yeah, he's a really good boy. He said wolf. He agrees. Wolf. But for the Kansas City Chiefs, everything that you guys are saying, maybe they do something early on in the draft to shore up the offensive line and get healthy. Maybe Tardif Duvernay decides to play this year. And on defense, they got to try to keep those guys that you were talking about, Stank.
Yeah, Bucs, Chiefs, it's crazy. The first thing that comes to my mind of how the offseason will go, it's unbelievable how one game just changes so much of how your projected year will go. I mean, it's just a complete spun, and now everything is spun as for the Chiefs side in like a negative way where will they be able to sign all these guys? Will guys want a bigger contract, more money now that the potential dynasty or winning could be done? They want to just go and get their money. Will guys leave? Will guys think the run is over? And we saw this past offseason when they signed Frank Clark and Patrick Mahomes and all these guys. Everybody was like, how are the Chiefs fitting this under the salary cap? How are they doing this? And that's all sounds good and fun for 1 year when you're trying to run it back and keep it going. But you have a tough loss in the Super Bowl like that. This is where the contracts start to get to you. So we're definitely going to see here in terms of Super Bowl hangover. The Chiefs are one of those teams where I don't really feel that they're in that position with what they have, that they'll have that Super Bowl hangover, but it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, obviously past years, we've known teams that have made the Super Bowl to not really have a good run the next year. So I'm definitely interested to see what the Chiefs do. I mean, obviously they still have Patrick Mahomes, so they're going to be all right in that sense, and Andy Reid. As for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they go into the total opposite, where it's like, all right, Super Bowl, we're all high on the win, we're all high on the salaries. We can sign everybody, we can give everybody any amount of money we want, we can do whatever we want to go forward. We're good. I think it was Shaq Barrett. He most recently said, "What a great year we had. Yeah, I had a great year. I'm ready to break the bank with my contract." So that's going to be interesting to see. That's one of the factors and one of the big things that goes into with winning the Super Bowl. Now everybody does want to get their money, because when a team does win the Super Bowl, there's a lot of players obviously that have breakout years or have good seasons. So Shaq Barrett being one of them, he's gonna want max money. So how are you pay him? How are you try to keep the dynasty alive with him and all the players that they have? So that's going to be interesting to see on the Buccaneers side of it. Will they be able to keep all those guys? Will there be guys that want more money that ends up breaking up the team? So I'm sure Brady will play a big factor in this, and then finally getting the win will play a big factor in this. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see where the two sides go.
Yeah, and talking about everything with next year, let's talk about how we said the legacies of these two quarterbacks moving forward. During the week leading up to the Super Bowl, there was so much talk, so much hype about if Mahomes can win, can he actually end up getting more Super Bowls than Brady by the end of his career? But Brady getting to number 7, where do you guys put him? Like Ben, you already said, let's forget about him being the best quarterback of all time. Where is he at as the best athlete of all time? And add into, where do you think Patrick Mahomes ends? Does he win one more? Does he win 0? Does he win 6? Does he win 7? What does that happen? What do you see happening in the rest of their careers and their legacies? Ryan, let's start with you.
Yeah, well, I'll take a swing at this. At this juncture, it's simple for me. In my opinion, Patrick Mahomes is going to go down as the most talented quarterback to ever play the position. But he's not going to go down as the greatest quarterback to ever play the position, because it was a 2 Super Bowl swing. Mahomes could have gotten to 2, kept Brady at 6. Instead, it's 7-1. I just don't see him catching Brady. He's not going to be the greatest of all time. Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. Maybe not the greatest drinker of all time, but the greatest football player of all time. My man Brady was just twisted.
He's partying.
Yeah, I love it. I got to admit, I love it.
I can party harder than that, Stank.
No, you can't. No chance.
I've done it.
Tossing the Lombardi for 5 minutes. Tossing the Lombardi trophy to his man Cam Brate on Gronk's boat. I mean, it's insane. It just looked like it was so like just letting loose. Like he takes the regular season so serious. He kicked his family out of his house, and look how it pays off. He wins another Super Bowl. But I mean, that was just really cool to see. Just living it up down there, goofballs. I do like Gronk. I like the way he likes to party, so that's fun. But it's simple for me. Patrick Mahomes has the arm strength. He's got the mobility. He's got the pocket presence, and he's got the weapons, Hill and Kelsey, that are going to be there for a few more years. So no one's catching Brady ever. I'm confident in that. But I put Brady in a class of his own, and then I kind of have Rodgers and Mahomes right behind Brady in terms of the talent that they possess, the ability to make all the throws, right, to kind of rival Brady. So I'm going to give Mahomes the edge here. I think he's going to end up having a career that goes over the top of Rodgers, and he shows the longevity and the talent to be the most talented quarterback to ever play the position, but not the best quarterback to ever play the position. I don't think it taints Patrick Mahomes' resume at all. I mean, he lost to a really good team. He lost to a really good pass rush. I mean, Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul with 8 fingers. It doesn't even matter. I mean, those guys are elite pass rushers, and the Chiefs' offensive line looked like something you would see on a high school Friday night. I mean, the Bucs embarrassed them. So I don't think it taints
Stadium.
Like maybe. I don't think it taints
Norco.
Yeah, sure. I don't think it taints. Stop interrupting me. Be a considerate host, Joey.
I'm trying to conversate.
For goodness sakes. No, I'm just kidding. No, I like I said, I really believe that with a full offensive line, I would like to see that game played again, but it's not gonna, it shouldn't, and hats off to the Bucs.
Where do you see Brady as best athlete of all time? Do you have him up there with the likes of Michael Jordan or above that?
Absolutely. If we're talking about Jordan going 6 for 6 on NBA championships, we got to talk about Tom Brady going 7 for 10 on Super Bowls. It's insane. It's insane. I mean, he's the most intelligent football player to ever play the game. He doesn't have the greatest skill set of all time, but there's nobody in the history of the National Football League, I don't care who you talk about, that has ever prepared and processed the things that Brady processes to get himself ready to compete on an elite level with guys half his age.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ryan, for Brady, man. That's exactly the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of him. Like, everybody wants to say he's the greatest football player of all time. He's the GOAT. He's the best athlete of all time, all this and all that. And I agree with all that. And I think the biggest thing that separates him is he's just like, he's unbelievably smart. It's almost like he is one step ahead of everybody in every aspect of football, how to prepare, what guys to pick on your team. Like Antonio Brown, for instance, we know what happened with him and the Steelers. Couldn't work out. You know, everybody's saying you can't win with a guy like Antonio Brown. And he goes to the Raiders. We saw what happened there. Fights with the GM, fights with the owner, all this stuff, gets released, doesn't care. And then Brady says, you know what? Let me take care of him. I'll figure him out. Figures it out, puts him under wraps. AB controls himself, wins a Super Bowl out of nowhere. It's just Brady is just unbelievable with just his presence, his smartness, his just understanding of people and how they work and how their mindsets are and what do you got to say and what do you got to do. It's almost like he just treats everybody like he just makes everybody around him better. And it's just like the off-field presence that Brady gives just translate on the field more than any athlete or any player ever has in any situation. It's just unbelievable. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that comes to my mind now that Brady has gotten to this point where it's just hands above the GOAT. So I just think that's just what separates him. So that's one of the biggest things that for Brady in terms of being best athlete, being the best of all time. As for Mahomes here, I couldn't agree with you more, Ryan, on it doesn't really hurt his legacy. I mean, the only thing it hurts is him having the potential to ever be the best quarterback ever. Like, I mean, he's 23, 24 years old. The standard doesn't need to be, is this guy going to be the best quarterback ever already that fast? I mean, Brady has lost Super Bowls. He took him a little while, so Mahomes could lose this one, come back and win the next one. Then he's right back on pace again. He's only 5 behind Brady. I mean, it was a tough loss, obviously losing to Brady now a couple times in the playoffs. It does hurt him for that factor, but I mean, Mahomes will learn from this. It can even make him better, not get a full head. So Mahomes will be back. One of the interesting things I do want to point out was there was an interview with Mahomes that I saw after the game where they were just talking to him about how the game went and everything. And it's a clip that we'll have to maybe show on one of our posts or whatnot, because I can't really replace it right now. But he kind of it was unlike Mahomes. He almost threw his team under the bus a little bit in terms of saying I made the right throws. The receivers just couldn't handle it or couldn't bring them in, and the line didn't really protect me, so I didn't have much time. And it was something along the lines of that. And it was just really unlike Mahomes and not like him. So that's something I want to look back on and something we could think about going forward. I don't know if that was just frustration out of Mahomes or what it was, or if he was finally fed up, but I think he's going to be okay. And we'll see what happens going forward with those two. Ben, Joe?
Yeah, I'll go right now, and then, Ben, you can finish it up. But, Stank, you're spot on with everything that you said. Absolutely everything about both of these guys. Thinking about the best competitors of all time, regardless of what sport it is, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Rafael Nadal, Serena Williams, Pete Weber, Ric Flair. No, I'm just kidding about Ric Flair. But Tom Brady is right up there, if not number one. He's an absolute stud, knows how to get it done, knows how to win. It's super hard to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. He's done it more than anybody, and I don't see why they don't win next year. I really don't see why they can't make another run like that. As for Patrick Mahomes, definitely one of the most talented quarterbacks in recent history. Maybe the best quarterback in the league. If you had to do a fantasy draft, why wouldn't you pick him number one? If they drafted every single player in the NFL, he would go number one every single time if they did a fantasy draft. So I don't think it really hurts him that much. I think the Chiefs could be right back in it next year. I did look it up. You're close, Zach. He's 25. He's going to be in the NFL for at least 15 more years. He could get pretty close to getting 7. He still can have a pretty close to getting that 7 range than Tom Brady. So Ben, what do you think?
So I'll start with Brady, and like I said earlier, where do you put him amongst the greatest athlete ever? And he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore. I mean, he's up there with Jordan now. He's won 7 Super Bowls. That's more than any team in the NFL has ever won. Of course, getting 6 with New England and 1 here with Tampa Bay. But, his legacy, I think he plays another year or 2. He's going to try to win some more. And what's just great about Brady is, like you guys mentioned earlier, he just knows how to build a team around him. And he knows what pieces will fit to make him better and the team better, like bringing in Antonio Brown, where everybody's like, why would we want Antonio Brown on the team? Well, look what happened. He even caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. So Brady just has the greatest IQ ever in the game, and he knows what he needs around him to win. And, the teams listen to him, the coaches listen to him, the GMs listen to him, and they get it done. As far as Mahomes, he's still young, and he's gone to 2 Super Bowls in a row here. And he is a phenomenal quarterback. I think what they need to do is just build that team around him so that he can succeed. We've seen, that they maybe need to upgrade the offensive line, and maybe you need to get another wide receiver here to help them out, and maybe a consistent running back. So they're going to look into that stuff. They still have a lot of time. And one thing that just, came to mind is that coming here in the next few years, we believe that Breeze is done and retired. Phillip Rivers is retiring. Ben's going to be done here. Brady will be done in the next few years. All the great quarterbacks, maybe he might go to be 60 or 70, but the elite quarterbacks that we look at in the NFL today, they're going to be gone, and Mahomes is going to become that one guy. And I think, in the next few years, he'll have more opportunities to win more championships, because he's going to be that elite guy. He's going to be the one that people are going to chase, just like they chase Tom Brady now. So I could see him going, maybe winning 2 or 3 more Super Bowls here in the next, I don't know, he's got maybe 10 to 15 years. I'd say 2 to 3 more Super Bowls in those 10 years. So there's a lot of hope for Mahomes. This Super Bowl for sure doesn't, do anything to hurt him. He's still young. He's got a lot of time. But, he's got to catch Brady. Everybody's going to want to catch Brady now. And Brady's not done yet to try to add on a few more to just, lengthen that lead that he's already got. So, we saw the baby goat versus the GOAT in this Super Bowl, and the baby goat still has a lot to learn.
Yeah, still has to grow his horns, brother.
Yes.
And all this talk about the quarterbacks, that leads us perfectly into the next thing that we wanted to talk about, the crazy quarterback carousel that we have this offseason. Where do you see guys like Rodgers, Jimmy G, Russell Wilson talking about it, and there's some rumblings of trades, Wentz, Foles? Is Big Ben going to come back? And did Tom Brady lay out the blueprint for guys like Rodgers to just pack up and go to a better situation? I'll start with this one. I think we're going to see Wentz in Indianapolis. I have no idea why anybody would even bring up rumors of Russell Wilson getting traded from the Seahawks. There's no chance of that happening.
He brought him up.
I just don't see it happening. I don't think Seattle would trade him. I think regardless of what Watson or the Texans say about not wanting to trade Watson, if he's going to hold out, they're going to have no other choice. I could see him playing in Miami, Jimmy G going to New England. And the only one that I'm unsure about is Rodgers. If he goes somewhere else, that would be absolutely insane to see him, instead of Wentz going there, maybe Rodgers going to the Colts. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think we're going to see any other crazy changes outside of Matt Stafford?
Yeah, I'll start with this one here. I definitely think you got a good point there with the whole, did Brady kind of open up the blueprint for this or kind of make it a little bit easier on people doing this? It's kind of like the whole NBA style LeBron James effect that he has, where he started the whole switch teams, build teams, guys go wherever they want, and now it's just a norm in the NBA. So
yeah, it's exactly like that.
It takes us the best player in the league at the time to do that, for the people become comfortable with it, and that's what Brady did. So that could be it. I mean, I think Rodgers' situation is Green Bay. He loves Green Bay. He kind of has he's kind of seems more as just a content NFL QB than Brady. So I don't really see him leaving or really wanting to leave, because then he has to, go to a different city, move towns, learn a new system, new coaches, all that. That Rodgers doesn't seem like that kind of guy to me. Brady loves football, obsessed with winning. Rodgers kind of just, I go out there, do what I got to do, come home, have some scotch.
Wants to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think he does too, but I just don't think he's cares about as much as Brady does. So I think he just
nobody does.
Yeah, that's
nobody
true.
does. Aaron Rodgers has become a punching bag on this podcast, and it's hurting my heart.
Yeah, I know, but I just think he kind of threw that out there in terms of just a wake-up call to the team. Come on, I lead us there. I do everything. I feel for Aaron Rodgers. They don't do anything. They drafted a quarterback
and then
a running back when they have.
Who knows what? I agree wholeheartedly, Zach. Who knows what Jordan Love is going to be? That might be one of the most perplexing decisions. You draft a guy and your quarterback wins the MVP. Maybe AJ Dillon pans out. That could make sense. But man, you're right on the money with that. What are they doing?
Yeah, win now. Who cares about the Jordan Love situation? I understand that Green Bay is regarded as best franchise of all time, arguably with Steelers, Cowboys. Come on now, do something to please him. Win another Super Bowl. You still got a solid 5 years of Aaron Rodgers left. Worry about the QB at a later standpoint. I know that's exactly what they did with Aaron Rodgers by drafting him and getting Favre, but I don't know. I just don't see that situation. It was too early, too wrong. So Rodgers' situation, he's Green Bay. He's staying in my eyes. He just kind of was throwing that out there, scaring the team a little bit, trying to wake them up. Same with Wilson. Same with Russell Wilson. I think he loves where he's at, loves where he is. I can't see him leaving. I think he was kind of just saying hey guys, come on. I've been sacked a bunch here. I've been scrambling for my life, and I'm trying not to do that anymore. We've seen the offense fall off a little bit once teams have trying to kind of figure us out. So I'm waking you guys up here. I don't want to leave, but you guys, I'm not tempted not to if you guys don't get me some help here.
Do you think there's any other big quarterback move?
As for move,
Wentz is going somewhere.
Yeah, Wentz is going somewhere for sure. Foles is going somewhere for sure. I think Wentz has to go. Obviously, Indianapolis Colts, that's obviously the first thing that comes to mind. The craziest one to me, obviously, is the Bears being an available option, because they're probably going to get rid of Nick Foles.
And they have Trubisky.
But it's how could Wentz come in after the whole Wentz and Foles? That would be insane.
And Foles goes back to Philly.
Yeah, if Foles goes back to Philly, Wentz, that would be insane. They're just okay, we really messed up with this.
They'd have to do a 3-team thing to make sense. We're not even talking about guys Derek Carr could be moved somewhere.
Yeah,
Ryan Fitzpatrick could go somewhere. I mean, there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks.
Jimmy G, I think he's staying. I think he still deserves another shot, another healthy year with the Niners.
What if the Niners were able to bring in Rodgers? You wouldn't take Rodgers over Jimmy
I would.
G, though?
They wouldn't. I don't think the Packers would do, but I would do that for sure if I was the Niners. But I can't see that. I mean, the whole Watson thing obviously has been the biggest one this offseason. And I mean, it seems like it's just gonna be a power struggle. The GM and the owner are saying we're not trading him, we want him.
Can we talk about the GM move? I'm completely on Watson's side, and I would love to be moved if I was Watson. Does anybody else know and understand who this new GM is? He was the team chaplain from the Patriots. So basically he was the team priest, and they brought him into Houston without, I mean, they don't owe anything to Watson to go over any decisions with him. But come on, you hired the team chaplain to be the GM of the team. What is his credentials on running a team, an NFL organization?
No, I like the hire.
What?
He was with the Patriots for 20 years. I mean, he behind Brady, Robert Kraft, Belichick for 20 years. He was director of player personnel for 12 years.
Maybe God will tell him who to draft.
He's a 6-time Super Bowl champion.
I don't know. I don't like that hire. What do you think, Ben?
Well, I think the Houston is now going to be in, or should get into, a rebuilding phase. You trade away Hopkins. J.J. Watt, announced that they've made an agreement that he will be released by the Texans, and now they want to keep Watson there and hold him like in a jail cell with the team. Like, yeah, we'll release everybody else around. We'll release everybody else around you that can make this team good, and then you're stuck here. Like, it's not fair to Watson whatsoever. And
maybe don't sign a contract 5 months ago for 4 years then.
Maybe the team should have told him, hey, we're going to include you on what we do moving forward. And then, can't get your phone, can't hear from you, don't want to hear from you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ben. I'll go in a second.
No, you're good. But I think it's just they need to just realize that they need to move on from here in a rebuilding stage. They can get some first-round picks for Watson, and I think that that's something they really need to look into, especially this year where there's a few decent quarterbacks that would be going in the first round that they can maybe build around. I feel like this is the time to do it. But, we talk about other moves. Rodgers, I just see him staying in Green Bay. He's their guy. And, they did draft Jordan Love in the first round last year. But, I think that's a positive thing because he can, watch Rodgers. And this is something that Pittsburgh, I've been begging for them to do for years. And they haven't done, is put somebody behind Ben to teach him the ropes so that when Ben's done that, that guy can take over. And that hasn't happened yet. But I say that Rodgers will stay in Green Bay. Jimmy G, Joey, like you said, to the Patriots would be really interesting. I'd like to see him go back there. Cam Newton is not the answer for the Patriots or any team. So why not bring back Jimmy G, who knows the system a little bit up there and might have some success. The whole Wilson trade thing, I think that will get shut down pretty quick. I think that he'll stay in Seattle. As far as Carson Wentz, I did hear about the whole Chicago thing. That'd be hilarious. If they traded for Foles and Foles is back in Philly. Wentz, I just don't see him as a guy that can really lead a team. If he goes to Indianapolis, he'll have some guys around him, but he's not.
Yeah, he had nobody with him in Philadelphia, and their defense wasn't that good. I think Carson Wentz is actually a very good NFL quarterback. I think he was in a terrible spot last year. He battled injuries the year before that. The whole Nick Foles things, I think if he gets a clean sheet and goes to Indianapolis, he's a stud.
Let us not forget how just god-awful that offensive line was in Philly. The scheme stunk. The routes were deep routes that they had their guys running, routes that take time to develop. The receivers were creating no separation. Lane Johnson in and out of the lineup, the positional movement for Jason Peters, he's always hurt. I mean, Wentz is a guy that likes to hold on to the football. We know that, right? He makes plays. And just the offensive line, think about how bad that offensive line was. Jalen Hurts had success because he was running. He wasn't picking defenses apart with his arm.
Yeah, Yeah,
in the receiving core, they had Travis Fulgham, and they still were running out of Alshon Jeffrey and that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who's out of the books. It's still out on him. Is he any good or not? And Jalen Reagor was hurt. I mean, if he goes to the Colts, even if he goes to the Bears and the Bears keep Allen Robinson, that's a way better situation than being on the Eagles. I think if he goes to the Colts, go ahead. Yeah.
If I could, Jalen Reagor over DK Metcalf, mic drop.
Yeah.
What are we thinking? What are we doing?
Andy Isabella got picked over DK Metcalf. Think how crazy that is.
It doesn't even make sense. Like, you see a guy, 4.3 speed, freaking nature. I mean, goodness great. Jalen Reagor, Ben. I mean, I'd rather have Russell Gage over him, Ben. I'd give me Russell Gage over Jalen Reagor.
Throw in Austin Hooper while you're at it. Oh, when they picked
Gage.
when they picked Reagor, I was like, what are they doing? He was probably my least favorite pick. There was some options still on the board from last year that they could have got better off. But just to sum up, Wentz, to me, even if he does go to the Colts, he's still like in that average quarterback range. He's like your Kirk Cousins. He's like your Jared Goff, your Matt Stafford. Like, he'll get you to the 500 mark, but that's about it. No matter where he's at. That's my opinion about Wentz. But Wentz is a guy that's going to be moved, and I really hope that Watson's moved for his sake too, so they can get him out of jail.
If I could, real quick. Rodgers,
go ahead. Finish us off on this one.
Yeah, it's simple for me. Rodgers, stay. Jimmy G, stay. Wilson, stay. Wentz, reunite with Frank Reich. Frank is Reich. Everyone's wrong. Right, Zach?
Yes.
I think that if you get that reunion, because of course, Frank Reich was genius when he was, helping Wentz's development in Philly. He almost made Wentz an MVP. So I like whatever Philly has to do to get Wentz to Indy. If you're Wentz, please, for the love of God, don't go to Chicago. That's where quarterbacks go to die. Okay. So it's simple for me. Okay. Rodgers, stay. Jimmy G, stay. Wilson, stay. Wentz, Indy. Foles, don't care. Do not care where Nick Foles ends up. and I'll just leave it at that. And if I could just rant about Deshaun Watson for a little bit. If you are Houston, hello, pick up the phone. Hello. What is your method? What are you thinking? What are you doing?
If I'm Houston's GM, I say 5 first-round picks.
Good. Okay. And somebody counters with 3 and you accept it. Otherwise, your franchise player is going to hold out for a year. Get some picks, commit to the rebuild. It's over. It's done. You put nothing around Watson. You gave his best target away. It's over with. The defense is awful. Like, I do not like the coaching hire. Get rid of Wentz, get the capital, rebuild your team, and come back with a coach that fires people up.
He signed the contract after they gave away his best receiver target. What was he thinking about that? Seemed like he was okay with it.
Yeah, but it was coming into
just fine with why did that garbage organization have to tell Deshaun Watson, we want you to be a part of things, and then not make him part of things? Just don't even extend the olive branch. Give me a break. That's why he doesn't want to. Hey, Zach, it doesn't matter. I mean, Brandon Cooks had almost 1,000 yards receiving. He went over 1,000 yards receiving.
No, he's just using that to extend his saying, "Oh, I'm going to use this and make it seem like I'm more mad than I am to just get out of there." He just signed it.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. I understand signing the contract.
He signed it after they got rid of Hopkins.
I understand that. Then they had an awful season. The defense stinks. His best receivers on roids. I don't blame him. Get the capital for him. Get the picks for him. I mean, look at the Jared Goff deal with Matt. Look what Matt Stafford's worth. If Matt Stafford's worth that, good Lord, get the picks.
Get 3 picks
before it's too late. He's going to hold out, and then what do you have? You have no win.
You're screwed.
Highest paid player throwing for as many yards as any of us here on the podcast. I get what you're saying, Zach. I agree with you. He did sign the contract, but things change, and that organization is a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
Someone help me.
No, I agree. It's not looking good, but I'm sure we'll touch base on all those quarterback changes. I'm sure there's going to be news of Wentz getting traded sometime soon and more developing story about Watson. So I'm sure we'll bring that back up in the future. But this is week 1 of Be a GM mode. We're going to start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are selecting number 1 overall in the draft. They have over $77 million in cap space. Urban Meyer's there. They have I had no idea about it, but the guy from Iowa that they brought in, who's conversational or controversial hire. Who do you guys think they're going to re-sign? What would you do if you're the GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars? And then this will also lead us up week by week that we do this down the NFL draft order. And this will give us a mock draft at the end of it of each one of us. So we'll get Jeff's insight on this too. I know who everyone's number 1 overall pick is going to be. It's pretty simple and pretty easy, but at least whenever we get further down the draft order, we'll see how our thought process in the first round will go. I'll start us off with the Jags. Number 1 overall pick. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. I think everyone's going to
agree.
Everyone's
agree with that.
Agree with
Good
that.
pick. Hey, good pick.
And whenever we do the cap room and the free agency, you could talk about who you think they should re-sign, but one guy that they definitely got to re-sign and one guy that you would really try and go out and get. They have $77 million plus in cap room. They got to re-sign Cam Robinson, the left tackle, and there's 2 guys on defense, Sidney Jones and maybe even DJ Hayden. And what else I would do in free agency, you talked about it, or somebody said something about Shaq Barrett breaking the bank. Get a playmaker like that on your defense. Don't worry about giving guys like Juju Smith-Schuster $1 billion and Allen Robinson $18, $19, $20 million. You can find receivers in the draft, and quite frankly, they got 2 good ones in Shenault and in DJ Chark Jr., and they got James Robinson at running back. I'm a big fan of the Jags next year. I'm super excited to watch them. I hope in the draft they go big on defense and pumping up that offensive line. So, yeah, Cam Robinson, if you can go out and get a guy like Shaq Barrett on the D-line, that's what I would do. And obviously draft Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. I know. Of course, I'm with you with the number 1 pick of Trevor Lawrence. That's a fact. They have to do that. They were already showing some of the pre-NFL tapes and warm-ups and tryouts of Trevor Lawrence, just some of his throws he was making. He had one of those type of rollout passes where he threw it 70-some yards. It was an incredible throw. It was unbelievable. So obviously Lawrence is the number 1 pick, but I mean, I think this is easy for me with the Jaguars here. I think it just comes down to, in the NFL, a lot of times they say owner, GM, head coach, QB, and all of those, after not lining up for the Jaguars ever, it has come to the point all of a sudden where all 4 of those have lined up for the Jaguars now, where they do have the owner, head coach, QB with Trevor. I mean, who knows what Trevor Lawrence will do, but it seems like they're in the right position now. Finally. Yeah, I like Lawrence. So I think once you have those 3, the owner, head coach, QB, I think the rest kind of will play itself out if you can make the right moves there. Obviously, with that owner, they're essentially, money is endless on who they can sign as long as they're under the cap room. That guy wants to spend, Shad Khan. He wants to buy whatever it takes to get this team to winning. Trevor Lawrence, obviously QB coming in. Everybody's like, okay, this finally has potential. This is a good QB, great QB. And Urban Meyer, he's a winner. Everywhere he's been, he has won. So they got that going for them finally. That could be a good start for the Jaguars. Cap room, a lot of cap room open. We'll see who they sign. Free agency. One of the guys when I was looking at their free agency list was D.D. Westbrook. I think that's one of the guys that they got to sign. I mean, he's a little bit.
He was hurt.
He was hurt and hasn't been proven. 1st round pick, hasn't really done much. But I don't know. I just like him and think he just needs a couple years.
Yeah, pairing him with.
He's a type of receiver that works in the NFL nowadays. With quick receiver, get good a quick slant out there, bust it open. So he's one of the guys that I think they got to sign. He could help Lawrence with those easy throws. That's something that could be key for him. So I mean, I love the Jaguars. They're going to be one of my favorite teams that I'm rooting for next year. James Robinson obviously is a big help for them, proving what he did. So I'm rooting for the Jags next year. I'm excited to see what they got going. And yeah, I think main thing that I just think about with the Jags is that whole owner, head coach, QB, and they finally got it. So it starts from there, and I'll pass it over to you, Benny.
Yeah, I mean, you go Trevor Lawrence first, of course. You can't go wrong there. And then I think some point during the draft, you try to get him another wide receiver to help him out, just like in Cincinnati, they go Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, who Burrow and Higgins had a connection. I think you do something like that in the draft to help him out. But you really need to focus on defense. This was one of the worst defensive teams in the league last year. I think you need to draft heavily defensively, get this team going on both sides of the ball. And heck, if I'm the GM, Ryan, why am I not getting Russell Gage and Austin Hooper on this team? I got the money. I'm going for the GM. This team will go from a one-win team to a two-win team, just like that. But I think that the Jaguars have a bright future ahead of them. They got the money. They just need to make some splash plays. They got the right guys in there. They got a winning head coach. All he knows how to do is win. They get Trevor Lawrence, who during his workout just looked phenomenal. That first throw that he had, rolling back, throwing it real deep. Just right on the money. So if they can build around.
We'll see how he does with pads on.
Yes, we'll see what happens then.
They
have a lot of draft picks too. They have 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders as well too. So they're gonna be able to get some.
Yeah, picks 1, 25, and 33. So there is some capital there.
Yeah, if they can capitalize on all three. I mean, we expect that it's going to be Lawrence unless something crazy happens.
And 45, Stank.
Yeah, they have a lot of opportunity there to make some splash plays. I'd pretty much focus defensively. Maybe sign back Westbrook there, like Zach said, to help him out with the wide receiver. But I'd draft a wide receiver to help him out, and maybe even a tight end along the way, because right now Eifert is a club option, and O'Shaughnessy is an unrestricted free agent.
Trade up and get Kyle Pitts.
There you go. Yeah, so there's a bright future ahead. It might not happen in the first year, but years down the line, I think that they'll be competitive. But it all starts right now. They got to get it right this year, and they have the right tools to do it.
Yeah, everybody's spot on. I mean, T-Law is going to be in Jacksonville with my man Urban Meyer. Free agency, it's splash, right? We get to have fun with this. We don't know what's going to happen. But here are my 2 splash moves. Yeah, here are my 2 splash moves. Throw the book at Trent Williams to block Trevor Lawrence's blindside, and throw the book at Shaq Barrett to seal up your pass rush, okay? That would be the first 2 free agent moves I would make. I would throw everything I have at Trent Williams. I throw everything I have at Shaq Barrett. Make them, if you have to, one of the highest paid at their position, or keep them that way, right? So those are the 2 free agents I would target. Then you look at a low-end wide receiver. And here's why I say that. Because the Jaguars have to completely revamp their defense. I'm drafting defense. 25, 33, and 45, you said, Joe?
Yeah.
I'm drafting defense with those 3 picks. T-Law at 1. I'm signing Shaq Barrett, if you can make it happen, right? Just assuming you can make it happen. I'm shoring up my offensive line, and I'm shoring up my pass rush, which was god freaking awful last year. Those are my 2 targets, okay? Then you shore up the offensive line. You got a rookie quarterback with promise, a great head coach. You got James Robinson, who was in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year. You got DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault in the slot. Sign somebody to play opposite of DJ Chark. See ya, Keelan Cole. See ya, D.D. Westbrook. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And I'm drafting defense, because that defense was horrendous last year.
Yeah, and just think about having a guy like Shaq Barrett opposite of Josh Allen rushing the passer, and having a guy like Miles Jack as one of your linebackers. You're pretty close to being where you're at how Tampa Bay won and had a defense like that. So I agree with that, Stank. I would love to see them make moves like that. I think they could be very competitive, and that'll take us to
Joe, real quick. Imagine if they still had Telvin Smith.
Oh my God. Whew.
And Ramsey and AJ Boyd.
And Puzzlesny.
Okay.
What if they had? What if they had
Puzzlesny?
Puzzlesny?
Calais Campbell.
No, I agree. No, Stank.
Telvin Smith was still on the team before he was booked for sexual assault of a minor.
Oh my, yeah, I completely forgot about him too. They have a chance to be competitive, and maybe
he's done. Telvin Smith's not coming back. But imagine. No,
I'm saying they have a chance. Yeah, it'd be decent. Imagine, and that leads us to our next topic. What would we do the betting podcast be if we didn't actually give you odds on something and tell you what we would bet? And just imagine how sweet it would be if we had TJ Watt on one side and then JJ on the other side rushing a passer. Steelers plus 400 to land J.J. Watt in the offseason. We spoke about it briefly before we went on air. I would love to place that bet. 100 to win 400. Buy a couple Watt jerseys with that. What do you boys think? Benny?
You know what I'm going with? J.J. Watt to Pittsburgh. I've been saying it all year since there's some rumors that came out. Why not join TJ and Derek on the team? And, like we said, I think that he would take a pay cut just to be with maybe somebody that can compete, and also to be with his two brothers. It would be a lot easier on the family too. They could easily just get a box at Old Heinz Field there, not have to worry about repping different jerseys there for the parents. So I'm going J.J. Watt to Pittsburgh. I think the stars are aligned that way, and with the plus 400 or the plus 400 odds on that, I'm taking that all day.
Benny, give them the line. If they get J.J. Watt, what would happen?
What would happen? Well, I mean, if you place the bet,
No. We talked about it beforehand. If they get J.J. and T.J.
Oh, yeah. What did I say? I said, they wouldn't know Watt was coming for him.
There it is.
I didn't know what line you were talking about. Yeah. They don't know Watt would hit him there on either side. So, quarterbacks would be screwed.
Yeah, that was a good one. I wanted to make sure we threw that one out there. But, I mean, I'm with you. It's Steelers all the way. I think the biggest and most important thing that this comes down to is, obviously, brothers are there. Everybody wants it. J.J. Watt wants to win. It's just, will he be willing to take some type of discount? He made somewhere in the 13 mil range with the Texans, I believe. There's no way, obviously, the Steelers are going to give him that or be able to afford that. So
I don't think any team's giving him
no team will. Yeah, you're right. No team will with his declining little injury history the past few years here. So it just comes down to how much money he wants to make, what discount he wants to make, where he wants to play. I mean, obviously Steelers are big favorites here. So will he take somewhere in that 3 to 4 mil range and just say, you know what, I got enough money with endorsements. I want to play with my brothers, 3 brothers on one team, Steelers, good fans. They've all treated me well and wanted me to come there. So that's what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, and if we're looking at betting too, go ahead, Stan.
999,044. That's what we'd have with the 3 Watts.
Oh, Jesus.
That's
99 JJ, 99 TJ, 44 Derek. Hey, we have some fun. I like to have fun.
And JJ said he wants to win in betting odds. If you're looking at it betting odds wise, Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 1,100. That wouldn't be a bad bet as well too. But Stank, where do you see him going, or what other teams do you think it could be a possibility?
It would have to be a thing that JJ Watt makes happen. Like he tells Pittsburgh, I only want to play for you. They are so cap strong. They got to restructure Ben. Shouts to Marquise Pouncey. He did retire today. Hey, round of applause for him, okay?
And Mike did too.
Claps for the Pouncey twins, the product of Florida each way. They obviously played for Urban Meyer down there in Florida, but great career for Pouncey. The only regret, he was hurt when the Steelers made their lone Super Bowl while he was playing. One of the best centers of his time, and definitely one of the best in franchise history. So that does help the Steelers against the cap. Connor's walking, Juju's walking. Big Al Villanueva's walking. McDonald retired. Yeah, I hope they franchise Dupree or sign him, because whatever him and TJ Watt have, it works. They play well opposite one another. I think if Dupree goes elsewhere for big money, it's going to be another one of those Kendrell Bell scenarios, right?
He'll go to the Cardinals.
Another one of those Lawrence Timmons type deals, right? Another one of those Woodley deals, right? Like where the guys, they get the money, they go to a different team, and it just didn't work, right? So it works in Pittsburgh. I fear for Dupree if he goes to another team and he's the only pass rusher, because the first 5 years we saw him out of Kentucky in the NFL, it was a wash. It was no good, and then the light flicked on. So we'll have to see. Just not something the Steelers have done, right? I mean, a couple of years ago, there was all that noise about Justin Houston when he got caught. Okay, Justin Houston's coming to Pittsburgh. He only followed the Steelers. He wants to come to Pittsburgh. It just didn't come to fruition. So I'm not going to believe it until I see it, that J.J. Watt comes to Pittsburgh. I don't know how much good football J.J. Watt has left, to be honest with you. I know Zach's not the biggest J.J. fan.
Yeah, and the other thing that is that about it too is it's literally would be the total opposite kind of move from the Steelers by signing him. So that's the other thing that I'm a little unsure with them actually making that move. Just signing a big name like that, an older guy, a lot of money. I don't know. I don't see.
What if they get him for like $3 million?
Yeah, then it just doesn't.
Is he gonna play for $3 million?
I don't know. Why not? He has a shoe deal with Reebok, dude, and he's made like $13 million a year for how many years, plus his endorsements, commercials. He's rich. I know his brother.
He's in the twilight of his career. What if he goes down to Jacksonville? Gets money there.
That's something.
I mean, he said he wants to play for a winner. He's not going to Jacksonville.
They could be a winner.
I could see Packers, Seahawks, Bills, or Buccaneers. Other than that, I don't see.
I'd love to see him on the Packers. I would love to see him on the Packers. Getting after the quarterback with Zendarius Smith.
Yeah, I think he's going to probably say something along the lines of, obviously Steelers are my favorite choice with my brothers. And my brothers. And it just comes down to the money and how much the Steelers were going to – if the Steelers go too low and say, hey, this is all we can afford, $3-4 million, but the Packers say, hey, we want you. We can win a Super Bowl this year with $7-8 million. He might say, all right, I'll take that. Maybe I'll face my brothers in the Super Bowl.
What if the Packers sign another quarterback with that money, though?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. And I think we're all leaning towards Steelers plus 400. Looks like a good bet. And the only other thing that we have betting to talk about this week is UFC 258. There's a lot of fights off of that card that got canceled. The only fight that I think me and Zach have a betting favorite in for this is the main event. Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns, former training partners going one-on-one for the 170-pound UFC welterweight championship. I'm super excited for this fight. I'm a big Gilbert Burns fan. There's two ways that it goes, and I think me and Zach are the only ones that are going to really pitch in on this. It's either going to be Kamaru Usman by points plus 110 or Gilbert Burns by a KO or TKO plus 600. Those are the only two ways I see this going, and it comes down to what is Gilbert Burns going to do whenever he's actually in a 5-round fight with a beast of Kamaru Usman in the main event of a pay-per-view. Is he going to do like what Yoel Romero did with Adesanya and just try to go to decision and sit back? Or is Gilbert Burns going to do what got him to this place and literally try to knock him out? What do you think is going to happen, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, it with the whole Usman decision versus Burns knockout kind of seems like the two most likely ways for those two to win.
Gave Covington the hands, though.
I mean, I look at it as the only two ways it's going to be is a decision by Usman or a knockout by Usman, because there's no possible way that Gilbert Burns is going to win this fight.
I don't think you're giving Burns enough credit.
Usman is just one of those guys in the UFC, the top of his class. He's just so tough to beat right now with what he does on the ground, standing up, ground game, knowing what it takes to win, going decision, protecting himself. He's just very difficult to beat. And Burns, I think it's just one of those, just like how it was with Masvidal when he tried it. It was just a little too early, trying to get up there, not ready for it. Masvidal got destroyed in that fight, and he was the hottest fighter in the UFC at the time. Burns now might have that, and this type of weight class might be the next one ready for it. Usman's going to say, hey, buddy, you're not ready for this. Easy win.
So Zach's on Usman. I'll just go against it. I'm taking Burns in this just because I want to see Burns with the upset. And I know we were talking with you, Ben, on this too, and then we'll wrap it up, especially with this downtime. And we got to talk about some betting on the podcast. It just can't be news. You guys got to get back into watching UFC. And guess what, Ryan? UFC 259, guys' night for my birthday. You got to come over. Let's go.
March 6th.
You and Ben pack the car up, come down with the boys. We'll watch a couple prize fights.
Have a couple Pepsis.
That'll be a way to get back into it, having a couple Pepsis with the boys.
You guys got to come for it. It's going to be big. But last thing that we'll end with, is there any rants, Ryan, you want to go with? Open floor, Ben, something you want to talk about? Zach, anything to add, or are we good?
I'm a little bit frustrated that for the second Super Bowl in the last 3 years, I'm ordering a jersey for one Jeff Landry when he makes more money than I do. Hey, you lose a bet, you pay up, boys. We bet a jersey on it, and
you ain't getting one of them China virus ones. You're getting it from NFL Shop.
My quarterback Patrick Mahomes was running for his life, and that's not a good recipe to beat Tom Brady. It's just not. So I'm a man of my word. The red Tampa Bay jersey's on the way. And hopefully we can get Jeff on the podcast in the coming weeks to just talk about how excited he was to see Tom Brady win again.
We'll let you guys have your little argument. We'll call it a debate between your favorite quarterbacks. And
I'll tell you what, one jersey I would enjoy ordering for a good friend would be ordering a Russell Gage jersey for Ben. I'm thinking like triple XL, so it's like way too big. So it's like ridiculous jersey, and it like comes down to your knees.
Cut it and get half Austin Hooper, half Gage.
Yeah, I think. One thing I want to add is just thank you, FanDuel, this past week. I hadn't had a FanDuel account, and they had the sign-up bonus of 55-1 odds if you pick the Super Bowl winner. So I got my wife involved. I took the Chiefs. She took the Buccaneers. We both signed up for $275 for free. $275 on a $5 bet just for signing up. So I really didn't. It didn't really matter who. Lost or won. I made money.
How do we feel about hedges, though?
You made money, or you guys had to split it?
Oh, it went towards the Bills, so it was it all worked out. It all worked out.
Hey, get her off your back for a couple of days,
Yeah, that's right. Here, go buy yourself something nice while you're at it. Get Russell Gage
and get me dinner ready. Just kidding to everybody out there. That's just light comedy. But I think that will end this week's podcast. This was one of my favorite ones. This is a fun one. I'm sure we're going to have some news next week to talk about. I'm sure we'll go over mine and Zach's UFC predictions. Maybe Carson Wentz gets moved. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the sports world. But thank you for listening to We Do the Bettin', and we'll see you guys soon.